I've got Lo-Fi Glow called up with one of the sounds, and I've got the Chords tool with one of the presets, and it works pretty much as expected. I can trigger chords on the white notes, and they repeat every octave, just an octave higher. And so on. Now, when we go into the settings here, we have simple and advanced. So in simple mode, it's mapped from C1 to C4, and outside of that, it won't trigger chords, but we can change the playable range of chords by using these stepper buttons to change the playable range that'll trigger these chords, or you can just mouse slide, and you'll see the keys on the keyboard down low changing as we do that. Now, that's all fine and it works great. You can just leave it like this and live happily ever after. But there are some other functions. We can go into advanced mode. And what this does is it gives us a palette of kind of like key switches for banks of chords. So again, we can switch the playable range here for where the chords are going to be triggered, meaning when we hit the note on the keyboard, it's going to trigger a chord. And we can also change the range of these key switch notes, but you can see them color-coded here. And in this mode, we get different chords with each, I'm going to use the word bank because that's kind of what it is, a bank of chord changes. Plus, we get out of the key chords on the black notes. So you get really a much larger palette of chords to work with. So I'm going to close this up, and I'm going to press the C0 here. And so we get some simple chords now that follow diatonically. We're in C minor, D diminished, E flat, F minor, G minor, A flat, B flat, as you would expect. But if I hit the black notes in between, I get nice, interesting passing chords. That may or may not be in the key. Now, when I click the next trigger note or key switch note, let's say that D, I get different chords mapped out starting on the C. And I'll go to the next one. Next one. Let's go back to this one. Pretty diatonic sounding. But if I go to the black notes, so if you combine that with working in, again, what I call invisible mode, you can really just go by instinct and see if you can come up with some ideas you like. So let me just capture that. And those are just my MIDI trigger notes, but you can always go in and edit and choose the chords that work better or not. But it's a good kind of way to trigger some ideas for chords or chord progressions that you might not otherwise have thought of. Now, another thing you can do is, I've shown you the drag and drop zones where you can drag these individual chords, but you can drag and drop from here, and then you can drag the entire palette of the 7 chords out, and it'll just stack them up. So you can then just sort of move them around and arrange them in your arrangement however you want. So there's lots of ways of working with the Chords tool. I'll put this back on. I think it's a good idea to leave it on to sort of learn. If you don't know your music theory that well, you can sort of learn and begin to understand the relationships between the key over here and the chords that are being triggered. But working blind is also interesting for a more intuitive approach. We'll look at the phrases tool next.